Hey everybody, welcome back to Real Rendezvous Podcast with your favorite people in the entire planet, Brett and Hunter.
Woo woo.
I'm Hunter, he's Brett. What's going on, Brett?
Not a lot, Hunter.
Yeah, never is.
Never is.
Yeah.
One day it's gonna be like, oh yeah, I moved to Malaysia.
Why Malaysia? What interests you to go to Malaysia?
I like saying the name, and it was the farthest away place I could think of for that joke.
If you could move to any country in the world, well, this is a stupid question because you've never been to any other country in the world.
Yeah.
But just based on outside perception, where would you like? What country would you like to visit the most?
Just to visit?
Just to visit.
Japan,
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, Japan's,
absolutely Japan.
I don't know if Japan's my number one, but it's probably in my top two. Because there's some other places I think would be really cool to go. I would like to go to Italy and visit Rome.
Italy would be cool.
There's just so much history there, which Japan there is too.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Japan finds that really awesome medley of old and new.
Mm-hmm.
Like Tokyo,
yeah,
and Kyoto, and like these cities are just so like advanced. I don't know. I'd like to go ride a bullet train. Like Wolverine.
Yeah,
in the greatest Wolverine movie ever made,
and Brad Pitt.
Yeah, well, why wouldn't I just say Brad Pitt to begin with? I'm sorry.
No, the Wolverine is honestly, I think the Wolverine could be counted as a deep cut because I don't hear anyone ever speak about that movie.
It really isn't that good.
It came and went, and its biggest defining factor is that it wasn't terrible.
Our poor guy James Mangold, he directed that.
He did.
Yeah.
What else did he do? What do we like him for?
Logan.
Oh, Logan was a redemption arc?
And 310 to Yuma.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
That's what I was looking for.
And he'll be an indie director here this summer coming up. Dial of Destiny, rough name.
Oh. Dude, when you just said he'll be an indie director, I thought you meant he was doing like a low budget.
Like he quit doing the big budget films.
Like he gave up on Hollywood and went independent.
Whoops.
And I was like, good for him, man.
Yeah.
And you were like, Dial of Destiny. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
He's literally an indie director. He is directing indie.
Indiana. My mistake. I'll use full verbiage next time.
What's his first name?
James Mangold.
No. Indiana Jones. What's his?
Didn't we talk about this on the Indiana Jones review?
Yeah, and I don't remember. That's why I'm asking.
It's something like...
Because I was going to say it, and then I forgot.
Henry, maybe? I don't know. John
Jones? His name is John Jones?
I don't know.
Hit Fortnite character John Jones?
I don't know. We're moving on. Anyways, what's up? Welcome to the Real Rendezvous Podcast. Hope you like that opening ramble. You knew you were going to get it if you're a returning listener. Today
he says that like we're not done.
Oh, yeah. There's going to be more rambles. We're going to try our best to stay honed. We do every time. We are going to be reviewing a movie currently in theaters. The Super Mario Brothers movie. A little side note here. We originally wanted to review the 1993 Super Mario Brothers movie, which was live action starring Bob Hoskins, R.I.P. He passed away a while back, and John Leguizamo. But it is not available on any streaming services.
Yeah, you can't even rent it. Like, not even like you cannot buy this film digitally. Not
even on Vudu. We went to Target and thought we could find it, and to no avail.
It was almost in my grasp. All right, our Walmart had a picture of the box art for the 1993 Mario movie on the $5 movie fucking bin thing.
You should have just stole that. That would have been funny. Like, just cut out all the little box art pictures.
Well, I was gonna say they're not like separate pieces. I definitely would have.
I figured it's all like a big one.
Yeah, it's just a big piece of. It's just a printed piece of paper.
Right. That still would be funny though.
It would have been too much work. It would have been harder to pull off. That's a heist that requires
some planning,
some articulate planning,
some Ocean's 11-esque. Thought.
Yeah. No, that we need a crew for that shit.
Have you ever seen Ocean's 11?
No,
me either. Maybe we'll do it on the pod.
I haven't seen Oceans 1 through 10 either.
Yeah, he'll be here all night. Cue the Joaquin Phoenix, Arthur Fleck meme. No, he'd be like, with the joke book. Like, like everybody thinks he fucking sucks. Anyways, so Brett hit me with, "Hey Hunter, this is playing at 9:30. Let's go watch the new movie." You know?
Yeah.
Which I hadn't seen yet, and I was super excited to go see.
Improvise, adapt, and overcome.
Yeah, we made it happen, man. Thanks to
did.
Brett's ingenuity.
Yeah, Hunter was very excited for this. Hunter was like comically excited for this movie.
Yeah.
Like anytime we would talk about it, he would like light up. And then I went and I saw it with my girlfriend. We saw the Mario movie together. It was adorable. And it was really good. And then I felt bad because I knew Hunter really wanted to see it and we were going to see it. But of course, he's got a life.
Yeah.
A much busier life than I. So he finds it difficult to get out there to the theater.
But with that said, life finds a way.
Yes,
and it happened tonight.
And it found a way today. I believe it was destiny.
Yeah, fate. One might say.
Yeah, I think the 1993 Mario movie is a white whale for another day.
Yeah. We'll get him some other time. But yeah, I was super excited for this movie. Kind of like. Unrightfully so too, just because I told you, I had a Nintendo 64 and I had Mario 64 and I played it a lot, and I also really enjoyed Mario Kart 64. That's kind of like mostly my extent of Mario knowledge. I can remember being really young and like being at my grandparents' house and playing like Super Mario Brothers on the Super Nintendo or whatever. But other than that, I don't really have like a big history with the Mario franchise. But I just thought that every trailer looked great. Mm-hmm. I thought this and we'll get to this when we review it, but the voice acting cast was absolutely stacked. Like maybe most like stacked voice acting cast like in the last 10 years. Like it was unreal. Yeah, and we'll save it for our review here after we ramble for probably 45 minutes. But did not disappoint. We'll get into the details on that later, but yeah, I had a good time with the movie. So, but like I said, we have some other things we'd like to discuss prior to.
Oh, as always.
Yeah.
We can't get straight to the main course.
Never can.
Around here, all right? You guys need an appetizer. You got to know what's been going on.
Yeah,
outside of the realm of our isolated movie we're reviewing. We like to keep it. We like to broaden the horizons on the news. Yeah,
no doubt. With that said, we'll drop a little bit of knowledge on John Wick 4 here. Maybe a mini review here.
I think we briefly touched on it last time.
I can't remember if we did or not.
I think we talked a little bit about it because I remember I did my big joke that I was using a lot when people would ask me. I was like,
it's a John Wick movie.
It was definitely the fourth John Wick film.
Yeah, so what Brett's getting at is he had viewed the movie before me. I think you saw it, like a week before or 2 weeks before? Was it?
Yes, I think it was 2 weeks.
Okay, because you saw it opening weekend.
Yeah, me and Dad saw it like 3 days after it came out.
Mm-hmm. And then me and Brett ended up going to see it together. And I'm a big John Wick fan. I'd say I'm probably more of a John Wick fan than you are.
My bad.
Well, no, I'm just saying because you've talked before how you just think that the second and the third one just don't even come close to comparing to the first.
No.
And which I agree with. The first one's definitely the best of the franchise.
That first John Wick is like not to sound like a film bro or anything, but that first John Wick movie was so influential, and you're still seeing the effects of it today.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like how Spider-Verse kind of changed animation right now. John Wick sort of changed action movies. The movie we mentioned before, like Bullet Train. I don't think Bullet Train would exist if that first John Wick movie hadn't done as well as it did.
John Wick definitely, the first John Wick film definitely reset the standard for action and fight choreography specifically. And it's raised the bar basically every film since then. And I'm going to say that John Wick 4 raised the bar in that category. But with that said, I will agree with Brett. it's probably the weakest in the franchise, in my opinion, which kind of goes against the grain with all the reviews you're seeing. And Brett, you can bounce off me a little bit here. We're not reviewing John Wick 4, but just give some thoughts. I think that it's probably the weakest in the franchise, especially for dialogue in general, not especially Keanu Reeves, but just in general amongst all characters.
Or should I say, yeah,
that's basically like 65% of his lines is just him like groveling at one word. Like it's pretty frustrating, and kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for here? Just a slap in the face of the character that they've built up over the past 10 years.
He sort of feels like a parody of himself.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, at first, you know, his I don't know the term for it. His lack of vocalization, you know, his strong silent type, you know, no nonsense is, you know, was sort of like, it was like this cool, mysterious thing, you know, like he only
speaks when he really needs to.
Yeah, he only speaks when he has something he needs to say. Other than that, it's like, you know, he's keeping that distant, he's cold, calculated, that sort of thing. And the yas were like, I think, you know, they were used, you know, the John Wick trademark, like, again, not to compare to the first movie, but, you know, he has that scene where he's blowing up all the money, or like he wants to get into the vault, and he's like, oh, and the priest guy's like, Vigo will kill me, and he's like, yeah, like it's like, that's badass. And now it's sort of like, you know, and that's sort of the theme of all the John Wick sequels, is that, you know, the producers kind of catch on to like what audiences connected with, and they sort of take away the wrong lesson from it, and they sort of drive it into the ground, and you know, twist what it actually was before.
Yeah, I like I said, I think the biggest problem there is the dialogue and the story in general. I think it gets too distracted with all the Continental stuff, which a lot of people love, and that's cool. They have that series coming out on Peacock, which I'm sure a lot of people will like. But I really like and you agreed with me on this too, the small tone of the first film. And the second and third one, which are movies I do really enjoy, and I enjoyed this movie a lot too. They just spread their wings a little too much, in my opinion, and I just like the small depth of the first film. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, and I don't want to make it sound like I hate John Wick's 2 through 4. I don't. They're really good movies. You know. They're great. It's John Wick. You know, you get
the action's top.
You get what you're going to see.
John Wick 4 is still it raises that bar once again for action sequences.
Absolutely, almost a little, you know, raises the bar a little too much. You know,
yeah. I mean, the man is unreal.
But you know, I don't want it to seem like I hate the franchise. It's one of my favorite movie series of all time. You know, that's why they keep going and we keep seeing them. Yeah. But it's just like, you know, it just kind of feels like they've gotten away from what made the original so as good as it was.
One thing I do really like about this one too, though, is I think it's got one of the most stacked supporting casts out of the franchise. Absolutely. And I kind of liked all the new characters introduced too, especially Donnie Yen's Kane.
Yeah. He fucking highlight.
Donnie Yen's a great actor, great character actor, and a great martial artist. I really like Donnie Yen. I would like to watch more of his other, like, older kung fu movies and stuff. I know we've talked before about Ip Man.
Yeah, his thing is the Ip Man.
Yeah, Ip Man. I've only watched the first one, but I would like to watch more, because I think there's 4 Ip Man movies. I would like to watch some of those and some of his other stuff. But yeah, John Wick 4, you know, not bad, good movie. Would watch again, you know. But it's just disappointing, I would say. But yeah, John Wick 4, not bad. And I was telling Brett tonight on the way back from the theater, like, I've just been excited because I've got to see a bunch of movies recently. I literally, the day after we saw John Wick 4, me and my wife went and saw Scream 6, and which I really enjoyed. I thought it was better than Scream 5, to be honest. And it kind of just keeps upping the ante, but in a good way. Really like Scream 6. And something else we got into in the past couple weeks, me and Brett have got a bond quite a bit over the past, since our last recording. We got to finally sit down and watch the original Evil Dead trilogy, which has just, been something we've talked about several times on here. I love the Evil Dead franchise.
It's almost like a running,
like a gag with
almost, with the show. It's like, and then, we'll watch Evil Dead. We got to watch Evil Dead.
So we finally watched Evil Dead, and Brett, we don't have to do a full-on review here. Where do you stand on the original Evil Dead trilogy? We did not watch the remake.
No, we just watched the original 3, the Ash Williams saga, if you will.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
I can go the rest of my life without ever watching the original again and be very content. 2 was fine. It was good for what it was.
This man hates a movie that was made before 1990.
No, I do not. I hate bad movies that were made before 1990.
That dude made that on like a $20 budget,
and you can tell. But that's why Evil Dead 2 is so good, because it's basically just a remake.
Yeah.
But then it sort of expands upon that. Like, all the stuff with the house and Ash is great. Could have done without the side characters. They were kind of lame.
Well, they're all cannon fodder, kind of.
But then, what made it all worth it was Army of Darkness.
Yeah, I
fucking incredible.
I tried to, without spoiling anything, I knew going in that, which is my favorite of the trilogy too, Army of Darkness. I knew going in that would be the one that you would like the most.
Well, it's because, like we talked about when we watched them, I had this idea of the kind of character Ash was in my head.
Yeah.
And then he was not that for 2 movies.
Yeah.
But then you get to Army of Darkness, and that's exactly the motherfucker I thought I was coming to see.
Yeah.
And there he was, and it was great. And Bruce Campbell is just it's so weird to me that he doesn't get more work unless he's working with Sam Raimi.
Now something funny about Bruce Campbell is I think he had quite a few different TV stints in the 90s and going into the 2000s. There was this, and I'd really like to try and watch it sometime. There was this Western, goofy, oddball Western TV show in the early 90s called, I think it was called Bosco County or Brasco County or something like that. Bruce Campbell was the lead character. He played as Bosco. And it was he was like the sheriff, and he did different misadventures and stuff. And then he also was one of the main characters on a crime series called Burn Notice.
Oh yeah,
that was out for a long time on you remember USA Network. It was on there for a long time, but other than that, he really isn't. In anything.
And it's crazy, especially back in the 90s and the 80s or whatever, because that dude's a stud. Bruce Campbell was a fucking hunk.
Yeah, man. I always felt like he was better looking Jim Carrey.
Yeah, dude, that is such a good way to that's exactly what he is.
Yeah, he has the same kind of slapstick humor, which is a big thing that I was trying to explain to Brett with the way the trilogy transforms. There's hints of it in the original, not as much though at all really. You can really tell that Sam Raimi loves that bloody slapstick style in the second one, and then he just goes full tilt goofiness in the third one. And there's just so many great quotable lines in Army of Darkness. I love yo, she bitch, let's dance. Just all that stuff.
Yeah, I said most of them.
Yeah, maybe not every single little syllable, but so the Evil Dead franchise is kind of,
No, I'm glad we watched them. I'm glad that I got them under my belt now.
Checked off your list, right? Notching your bedpost. You need to watch the remake now.
I do need to watch the remake now.
In preparation for Rise, which comes out tomorrow, right?
Yes.
It does.
Yes. Tomorrow, dating the episode right now. Tomorrow, April 21st, Evil Dead Rise releases. Yeah.
Also, a couple other little tidbits just to touch base on. Barbie trailer the Barbie film, rather.
Let me tell you.
Has a new trailer. Let Brett tell you about it.
How fucking excited I am for Greta Gerwig's Barbie.
Yeah, it looks good.
This movie is going to change the course of my life forever. All right, listen. I mean, it's a perfect storm. All right. Ryan Gosling as Ken. Margot Robbie as Barbie. Can you believe that this movie almost starred Amy Schumer?
Oh, man, that would have been a fucking train wreck.
Can you?
No pun intended.
Oh, that's the name of the other movie she's in. But no, and then, so we've all been so excited. They released those pictures. They released that little, spoof on 2001: A Space Odyssey, and it was her.
It was great.
And she was in the original Barbie swimsuit. Like, you can just tell, like, this isn't some bullshit cash grab movie, all right? This is made by people who care about the lore.
Right now, I'm like the Woody meme, like, let him cook.
and they're setting, and it's got the perfect tone, the comedy, all the jokes are so on point, and the colors, like, they just let this woman do whatever she wanted, and she is cooking.
Yeah.
Greta Gerwig is in the kitchen, and she's cooking up a 5-star cinematic feast for our eyes and our ears and our hearts. All right, this is going to be the first movie to make $100 billion, and I will be at least half of that fucking total gross.
Yeah,
all right?
and don't anybody question Brett on whether or not he'll go see a movie at least 7 times, because I know he will.
You know that guy that saw Captain Marvel 128 times? I'm going to make him look like he hates that fucking movie.
Well, I hope you don't see it over 128 times, but I do hope you get to see it as many times as you need to please yourself. So, but with all of everybody got Brett's full opinion there. I think it looks pretty cool, and I would like to see it in theaters. Like Brett said, it nails the tone 110% that I would like for a Barbie movie. Not that I'm like a big Barbie fan or anything, but I growing up, I had sisters, they had Barbies, and it's just cool to see the way that they're trying to play. I made a point to Brett that when we saw the trailer tonight, which I guess this is kind of hard to talk about over the podcast, but it gives me a vibe because it looks like they're kind of bouncing from Barbie world to the real world.
Yeah.
It gives me almost a vibe of Elf.
Yeah.
The way 2003's Elf with Will Ferrell showed.
Which is funny because he's also in Barbie.
Yeah. He's like what, the CEO of Mattel or whatever?
Yeah, he's like a big businessman.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how they construct the plot and everything.
I am not to doubt the visionary and the genius that is about to be displayed to us come this summer. However, I kind of don't like it when movies that like are adapting a certain thing are like, we're putting them in the real world.
Yeah.
And it looks like Barbie's going to have a lot of fun with it. But also, I would just sit through an entire movie where they just Barbie shenanigan around in Barbie world.
Yeah.
Because that, all that, and all the Kens like fighting over, and then, oh man.
It could be really interesting.
Yeah, no, it's I just can't wait.
I just don't see how anybody that is a more than casual film goer can't be excited for this movie.
Yeah, it just looks like a damn good time.
Very unique.
And they got Alan, played by Michael Cera. Who the fuck knows who Alan is? I do.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's Ken's buddy, and he can wear all of his clothes.
Brett had to educate me on Alan. And last thing we probably should touch base on just a little bit here, prior to getting into our review, is season 3 of Mandalorian wrapped up. And I think me and Brett also share similar thoughts. We're on the same wavelength today.
Yeah, no, we're like the streams have been crossed in our brain stems.
Yeah, that. So Mando season 3, the finale was the day before yesterday.
More like the mid-DeLorean.
The mid-DeLorean. Remember when we called it Obi Mid Kenobi? That was one of our crowning. That was Real Rendezvous Hall of Fame right there.
Oh yeah, I meant to, for the 1 year anniversary, I wanted to put together a best of compilation, and it just didn't quite come to fruition.
Yeah, when we get rich and famous, we'll get our producers to do it.
There's a lot to sift through there, but I mark my words, that will come out, and then all those best moments will be on display.
I'm super excited for that day. So Mandalorian season 3, 8 episodes. it's Mandalorian. It's pretty good.
Is it though?
I think it's the weakest of all three seasons. I like where they went with expanding the Mandalorians themselves. With Bo-Katan, we get Paz Vizsla. We're introduced to Axe Woves, and a few more Mandalorian characters. And not to really delve into the entire season and everything, but we get a lot more from their background, the planet of Mandalore. A lot of it's cool. I feel like in general, though, with the 8 episodes, they're disjointed. And I think you said it best earlier when we talked about it. There's out of the 8 episodes, the 2 at the beginning and the 2 at the end are the only ones that really fucking matter for the whole story of the season. The rest are kind of filler. And so it's a bit disappointing.
Yeah, and it started in season 2. But did you see where I don't know if it was Dave Filoni himself or just like another high up guy, but they came out, they're trying to retcon the title now. They're
retcon the title.
Yeah, so they're like, he came out and he was like, well, a lot of people aren't understanding, now season 3 onward, the title The Mandalorian is referring to all of them. Which doesn't make any fucking sense.
He said that?
He said that.
Man, that's going to ruin things.
Because it's not plural. They also started calling it the Mandoverse, which is stupid because it's just Star Wars. It's all Star Wars. Why are we getting so granular now?
This is so similar to the issue with John Wick.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
honestly, we love the simple story.
Yeah, and it's kind of like almost an exact parallel from where like that first season was so influential and everything it did was like so just perfected, and then now they're zooming out too far. My biggest issue with The Mandalorian right now, and a lot I see a lot of people on Twitter echoing this fact, is that like a large majority of Star Wars fans did not get super into the Clone Wars, right? But that seems recently that is all they want to focus on is stuff that happened in the Clone Wars, characters that you meet from the Clone Wars. It was a problem near the end of season 2 of Mando. It was a problem for almost all of Book of Boba Fett. Yeah. And then now, again, it's like, and then my biggest problem with this season is that we're not even really focusing on Din Djarin anymore, right? Which is, I think, is why they came out and they were like, well, it's about all of them now, is, to try and like talk their way out of that criticism, right? And I don't mind focusing on our side characters, but this entire season is mostly just about what Bo-Katan wants. Yeah. And Din Djarin is like, yeah, we can do that. Yeah. Sure. I'll be there.
Yeah, I tell you what, and I'm not trying to stray away from our thoughts on Mandalorian here, but just also to kind of touch base with you on what you were just saying about trying to focus too much on Clone War stuff. What do you think is going to happen with the Ahsoka show coming out?
Well, see, that makes sense, though, because, like, if you're making a show about Ahsoka, obviously the people that are coming in to watch that.
Right, but I'm just saying it's more Clone Wars stuff and stuff from Rebels, I guess, which I've never seen. But, it makes it, like you said, it's difficult for the casual viewer to really get dedicated to.
Like, which, and I get, not everything has to be for everyone. But it's hard. It gets harder to enjoy when it hooked you with that first season with this like completely accessible new storyline with new characters that are ingrained in this world that we already care about. But you can enjoy it completely on its own. But now, me and my dad, we're sitting there every episode, and every other episode, we're like, "Who's that? Who are they talking about? Who's Grand Admiral Thrawn? I've never heard that name before. I don't know who that person is. I don't care about this threat because I don't have any frame of reference for the things that these characters are talking about." And that wasn't a problem in the first season.
I feel like I'm diving too deep into negativity on this season. I will say I still enjoyed it.
Yeah, I also feel that way. I feel like I'm like really going in on it right now, and I don't mean to. It was still good. Yeah, we love The Mandalorian.
I think it still had some really great action sequences. And I did really like how I didn't want the entire season dedicated to Bo-Katan, but I do like how we get more depth to her character.
Yeah.
We get more depth to Paz Vizsla, and we get more depth to even Grief Karga, Carl Weathers' character.
Yeah.
We get to visit some new cool planets, and
I love seeing Coruscant again. That was a big, that was really cool.
And that episode is, I think,
it's an amazing episode.
A really good
but
episode. The episode we're talking about takes place on Coruscant with a bunch of characters that were like ex-Imperials, and they're getting like reacclimated to the New Republic. And it's a really interesting episode, but it kind of leads to nothing. It's almost like a filler episode for nothing. And, just kind of like the season in general left you wanting, expecting more.
Yeah. Not that there's anything wrong with filler, right? One of my favorite episodes of the season we were talking about earlier is one of those filler episodes. The episode where we go, I don't remember the name of the planet exactly, but we go to that new planet and we meet Jack Black and his wife Lizzo, and then we go on a little robot espionage mission where we get to see like good cop, bad cop with Bo-Katan and Din Djarin. That shit was amazing. Like, that was really fun to see. So the problem isn't necessarily that there is filler, it's just that there's so much of it, and also most of it goes absolutely nowhere.
Yeah. One other great positive, though, maybe I already said this. This season does have some really sick action sequences.
Yes, you did mention that. And it does. It really does.
The season finale, I think, has a really cool action sequence. Basically, jetpack warfare is what I'm going to call that. And then also the episode prior to that, there's like a really cool one-man army type sequence, gunfight, and it's really, really cool. Also, there's a sequence where all the Mandalorians are kind of in a on-ground assault in Grief Karga's city on the planet Navarro, and that whole episode is really, really cool, I thought. So it still has some highlights, There's still some redeemable qualities there. In general, just, not my favorite season. I will still be tuning in for season 4, and I'm looking forward to where they go.
Yeah, I do think, where season 3 left off, without getting into too many spoilers, just, that final conversation of season 3, and then, the synopsis they put out for what season 4 is kind of going to be like. It does kind of sound like they're going to move back into, like season 1, real focused on Mando. It's kind of like a telescope, and then season 2, they kind of zoomed it out. Season 3, they zoomed it out real far. Now it feels like for season 4 that maybe they're going to try and zoom that back in on Din and just like his adventures with Grogu. So, hopefully that's the case. If not, we'll still be tuning in. We'll still be enjoying our boys.
I have one more complaint, and then we'll move on. Mando season 3 had a bad guy problem. They couldn't figure out what they wanted to do. Especially in even season 2, there was, you don't have that big nemesis for for Din Djarin. And so Moff Gideon comes back, and that's fine, but it was he came back the last episode, really. Yeah. So it was what's the word I'm looking for? Just kind of uninspired in my opinion. I feel like they could have used an 8-episode season to establish a villain, a new guy, in that first or second episode, build them up throughout the episode to give a cool climax at the end. With the Dr. Pershing episode, I really thought maybe that was going to go somewhere in that direction between him or the chick with the haircut. Yeah, and it never did, but they'll find their way.
Yeah, even then, it's not even really. I didn't even really think. Not every season really needs a villain. When the season, the season premiered and we got those first couple episodes, I'm like, oh, okay. So our goal this season is to get to the living waters and redeem ourselves.
And it was a side quest.
And it was a side quest. They did it fucking immediately. And then I was like, okay, well then, what are we doing? And then we meandered for 3 episodes, and I was like, what are we doing?
And that would have been cool too, like you said, for it to be drawn out multiple episodes, because it's an adventure series too.
Like I think they really should have just focused in on that. Finding out that Mandalore is a livable planet, taking back Mandalore. But taking back Mandalore in a show called The Mandalorian felt like it was a nothing task, because they get there and there's already fucking people that live there.
Yeah.
Like that threw me out immediately.
Yeah.
I was like, so we've already taken it back.
Yeah.
They still live here. This is still their planet. Like, what are we doing?
It was like they wanted to execute that in general, but the execution sucked.
Yeah. So just a lot of just weird choices in general. But, still, it's The Mandalorian. They're fucking awesome. We love to see them.
Yeah, we'll tune in next season for sure. What do you think, Brett? You think we ought to hop into the review finally?
Yeah, I think here... Actually, that wasn't as bad as it normally is.
Nah, I think we did good right there.
No, we did.
Are we going to jump right into it?
We're jumping right into it like it's a fucking warp pipe, dude.
Yes. I wish I could make the sound effect. Bloop, bloop. Yeah. Okay, so 2023 Super Mario Brothers movie. This movie has 4 directors. I didn't write all 4 down. I wrote the only guy that had a fucking picture on IMDb. Aaron Horvath. This guy also directed the Teen Titans Go movie that came out a couple years ago.
Was he the sole director of that, or was that another case of...
I think it was another multiple director thing. But he's like a big lead creator of Teen Titans Go, the series, too.
Oh, okay.
This also has the most stacked voice acting cast ever in the history of God. Chris Pratt, Charlie Day, Anya Taylor-Joy, Jack Black, and many others. I just wrote down like the top 4 build. But, not just off the top of our heads. Keegan-Michael Key, who else? Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
Fred Armisen.
Yeah. Sorry.
I was just naming different big names.
Yeah.
But yeah, the voice acting cast is stacked here. This movie had a budget of $100 million.
I was just about to say, most of that probably went to paying the voice cast.
Yeah, and I was thinking that earlier when I wrote that down. I was like, man, this budget's insane. Why is this budget so insane?
But animation is super fucking expensive.
I think, and I know that we've talked before about Illumination Studios. I think their animation looks very good. And I really thought that today. There was a couple times I leaned over to you in the theater and said, like, man, that looks fucking sick.
Yeah.
The U.S. gross for this movie so far, obviously it's still in theaters.
Yeah, we're still rolling.
Yeah, it's $371 million, and the worldwide gross is $720 million. So it's made back 7 times its budget already.
Yeah, now keep in mind, with that worldwide gross, the Super Mario movie has not yet released in Japan.
Yeah.
So you can only imagine what that worldwide gross is going to jump to when it finally drops.
Yeah, that's insane. Why is that it hasn't been released over there yet?
I don't know. Different countries just have different
schedules,
and some of it they have, because it's got to go through localization too. They got to, and then the dubbing and all that.
Right. That makes sense. This movie is scored and soundtrack by Brian Tyler. Fun fact: he did the last movie we reviewed too,
which is so
5.
funny.
Yeah, that's so
what a juxtaposition.
It's so ironic.
Of movies.
I liked both soundtracks. I think. I don't know. I can't remember. Did I like Scream 5, Brett?
I don't know. It didn't really have a lot of music in it.
I think I only like Scream 5 soundtrack because it has
Red Right Hand.
Red Right Hand. Hey, if Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds is there, I'm in. So with the plot of this movie, which I don't have opened on my phone right off the bat, but it's not really. It's not 100% an origin story.
Bowser wanna kill Mushroom Kingdom. Mario gotta stop him.
Okay, so here's what we
Yahoo.
have. A Brooklyn plumber named Mario travels through the Mushroom Kingdom with a princess named Peach and an anthropomorphic mushroom named Toad to find Mario's brother Luigi and to save the world from a ruthless fire-breathing Koopa named Bowser. So there's the plot. What do you think of the plot, Brett?
I think I need you to say that word before mushroom one more time.
Anthropomorphic?
Wow.
Did it roll off my tongue all right? Did I butcher it?
Holy shit. I've never ever... Anthropomorphic. And
All right, man. What fucking college did you go to?
No, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I didn't know you went to the science school.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That was mean. But I've just...
Anthropomorphic?
Yeah, I just couldn't...
Well, you can read it next time.
Well, no, I'm not being mean. It didn't occur to me. No, okay, I'll out myself for a second, all right? Because you're not...
All right, whatever, dude. Earlier you were calling her Greta Gerwig. There's no T in there.
Is there no T in there? Then you should have fucking called me on it.
No.
But no,
No,
it's not your fault.
Because I am polite.
It's not your fault. I'm not trying to be impolite. It didn't occur to me that...
This episode of Real Rendezvous is about to morph into a WWE Monday Night Raw.
Please, I'm sorry. It didn't occur to me that anthropomorphic is not a word that you would be familiar with. Because
I know what it means. I obviously haven't said it a whole lot.
No, and that makes total sense because you're not a fucking loser like I am and are into the sort of things that have anthropomorphic characters in them in a way that you would have to know how to say that word correctly.
Yes, I am, or else I wouldn't be here.
Well, that's what it's hard to explain, but I apologize for my guttural reaction.
Apology accepted. You're getting too hung up on making fun of me because I can't speak.
I didn't.
Next time, instead of wearing the shirt that says vacuous, get one that says...
I'll get one that says anthropomorphic.
Anthropomorphic. I mean, that's just a lot of syllables.
No, I just like... No, I wish that I said words like that.
Anthropomorphic.
That's great. I wish
I almost said it with a British accent
said.
without a British accent.
No, it's not a bad thing. It just caught me off guard.
Anyways,
I'm sorry.
What do you think of what do you think of this fucking plot, Brett?
I think
it's all right.
I think it's really good. I think it's exactly what it needed to be for the Mario movie. You know, keep it simple. Too. Keep it right at the basics.
Yeah.
You know, while also, putting that little spin on it because everyone's thinking they're going into it. They're like, oh, I got this shit down pat. I know how this works.
Mm-hmm.
Big turtle guy, princess girl, they're fucking out of here. Not the case. Princess girl, she's showing our guy how to maneuver around her world. She's lived there longer. That's how it just makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's a nice little flip on the head.
I think the plot does a really good job of being an origin story without being an origin story. We get cool background for Mario and Luigi and where they're from, and because the original game just kind of
they're just
threw
there.
shit at a
wall.
They
just live there.
But I really liked the introduction to their lives in Brooklyn. I like how there's some stuff just left open ended and nobody explains how they're. The Brooklyn sewers system has a pipeline that takes you to multiple dimensions.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, forget about it. They're walking there. Yeah. And then I really like how everything kind of develops as, there's a kidnapping, and we can talk about this a little bit more later, but... the games are famous for Princess Peach getting kidnapped and you're trying to hunt her down and save her. And that's not really what happens. Somebody else gets kidnapped, Luigi. And the movie kind of goes from there with Mario trying to find Luigi and also help Princess Peach save the Mushroom Kingdom from Bowser. Simple story. This movie's geared for kids, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
And that's something I was saying to Brett. It's got this one main plot, and I think it works well for it. I also think it works well for the runtime. I've heard some complaints that this movie could have used a longer runtime. I was satisfied.
It was me. He heard this from me. I said that.
I heard it from a few other, people online, reviewers and stuff, which I can see where big fans of the franchise would like more meat on the bone. Mm-hmm. But I liked it the way it was as far as the plot and runtime. And then to jump into the setting here a little bit, I thought the way that they used Brooklyn for the intro and then the way it was unexplained how they got to the Mushroom Kingdom, kind of, and the Mushroom Kingdom itself, everything was really cool. everything in the Mushroom Kingdom was vibrant.
Yeah.
They used a lot of cool things from the game. Like the way they use the platforms, random ass platforms is how they travel.
Yeah, it's super cool. The characterization of the Mushroom Kingdom was extremely well done.
Yeah.
And it's because, you know, what all video game adaptations should do is they had just the people who made it on their creative team telling them, yeah, do this, you know, maybe, you know, but it was still like adapted upon, you know, it's like it wasn't like one-to-one with how it works in the games, because obviously how it works in the games is it just works that way, you know, we don't talk about it.
Yeah.
But, you know, pipes are just there. You use them, you go to the secret area, get your coins. But here it's like, it's transportation, you know? It's the only way to fly.
And there was no exposition to explain things.
Yeah, they weren't overly explaining it. Yeah.
Like you just saw it. It was visual learning.
Yeah,
like,
show, don't tell.
Yeah, it was great, man. And, you know, I talked ad nauseum about how I love less dialogue, more action. Yeah, the Mushroom Kingdom's tight. I love Bowser's moving dark lair or whatever. Bowser's such a metal character in this. I'll talk about him more in a minute. But, like, everything in his world, the lava, the rocks, everything looked cool. I know that sounds kind of lame, but I thought, you know, just to ode to Illumination Studios animation again, the lava looks really cool. Water in this looks pretty good. Something I really, really liked and pointed out to you, you can see the goddamn embroidery stitching on Mario's hat in a few sequences. I think everything looks so good with this animation, and I'm kind of like a low-key not hater of Illumination. I really like that Grinch movie that they had a few years back. But yeah, I thought the settings were really, really cool. Really creative use of the original content, like you said. Character design. Everybody was cast. I don't have any complaints with any of the voice acting, really.
So this is something I really wanted to talk about, because me and Hunter's circles, if you will, differ very drastically. All right, you see, Hunter is a normal guy with a normal life, who is not super ingrained into, you know, the sort of online ecosystem as I am. You know, he's not always on Twitter, you know, specifically looking for what people are saying about certain things. He doesn't have a super extensive list of specific people whose opinions he goes to see about this kind of stuff, right? Like he was saying, he's not like, you know, he likes Mario. And so he went to a Mario movie and he was like, yeah, those guys did a good job. But I don't know if you're aware of the absolute shitstorm that was the announcement of this cast.
Oh, yeah. I know it was a big deal when Chris Pratt got announced. Yes. Everybody was pissed.
Like, elephant in the room. Chris Pratt is Mario. Because, you know, even as someone who's seen the movie, and you know, spoiler alert, he does a really good job.
Yeah.
Just like that sentence, Chris Pratt as Mario is just so funny.
Yeah.
Because it's like, so, like, at the time was so out of left field.
Yeah, because how would he sound like him at all?
Yeah, right? And that was everyone's thing. Which I will say, I did not doubt him from the start. Because I was like, okay, it's Chris Pratt. He's going to be from Brooklyn. They're going to go the Brooklyn era. Obviously, Chris Pratt's not going to run around on screen and go, "It's a me, Mario."
Yeah.
Which and it's even funnier because he absolutely could have.
Yeah.
He shows us in the opening of this movie that if he wanted to, he does a pretty good game Mario voice as well.
Yeah.
As the Brooklyn Mario voice.
See, what I don't understand is, like, so is that what the masses would have wanted? Like a really goofy sounding main character?
Well, I guess, there's a big thing when it comes, especially in voice acting. A lot of people don't like it when, you know, Hollywood celebrities are cast as voice roles originated by voice actors. Because voice actors, and it's absolutely true, voice actors a lot of the time don't get a ton of recognition for their work. Voice actors are not big names like Chris Pratt, like Jack Black, like Seth Rogen.
Right.
And the original voice of Mario, who voices a lot of characters of Mario. He's Mario, he's Luigi, he's Wario, he's Waluigi. Mm-hmm. Charles Martinet, which I don't even... Did you know that was his name? Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I know like maybe 5 voice actors.
Exactly. And that's the whole point. So there's a big stigma against casting, people, celebrities who people deem, too big in roles that were originated by people who don't get the credit they rightfully deserve. And my response to that is you're absolutely right. However, unfortunately, Charles Martinet is not a name that sells tickets to a movie.
Right. How are you going to get butts in seats?
How are you going to get butts in seats? You get butts in seats by showing moms and dads names they recognize.
Exactly.
Of people they know they like.
Yeah.
And that's Chris Pratt. And that's Jack Black. And that's Seth Rogen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they do it. And it's not like super cool, but also... And then, of course, everyone's like, well, he's spoken in sentences before, Charles Martinet, he's done his Mario voice and spoken in sentences before. It's like, yeah, he has. But there's no denying that voice that he does is very clearly tailor-made for short phrases and sound effects.
Right.
That's what the voice was originated for. That is why they do it the way they do it. And Charles Martinet is still in the movie. And he's actually... in the movie as 2 characters, 2 very cool characters, right? One, he's Mario's dad.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's Mario's dad, which is awesome. And he plays a character who is credited as Giuseppe, is his name. He was the guy in the arcade and the guy at the end, who, which I'm sure you probably didn't notice, but he's that character Giuseppe. A, he's doing Charles Martinet's original Mario voice. But B, he is dressed as... the original artwork done for Donkey Kong. Mario's first appearance, before his name was even Mario, his name was Jumpman. And so, he's that character. He's the original Mario. Like and he's also, Mario's dad, which could be seen as like, the original of that like family lineage. So it's like it's done very tastefully, and the celebrity voice actors we do get are doing very good jobs in the roles that they were given.
I don't have a single complaint about a single celebrity voice actor in this movie.
No, not at all.
I thought everybody did very well.
Very well.
Even like I know that there was questions about Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong. I thought he was great.
As the resident Real Rendezvous Seth Rogen hater.
Yeah.
I really, really like Donkey Kong in this movie. Yeah. And I think Seth Rogen does a really good job with his character. I couldn't even actually imagine anyone but Seth Rogen voicing Donkey Kong.
I'll tell you what, man. I think the biggest standout for me was Keegan-Michael Key.
Oh, I was just about to say, absolute highlights. Of course, Jack Black. We can talk about him in a minute.
Yeah, let me retract my statement. Keegan-Michael Key was great. Jack Black is my favorite.
Well, I will say, Jack Black is great, but we knew he was going to be great. Right. Keegan-Michael Key as Toad is such a standout in this movie because it's like.
Kind of came out of nowhere.
Like, yeah, he just came in and he just fucking brought it, you know? And it's like... And it's funny because when the trailers first came out... Because you can't tell that's Keegan-Michael Key.
He sounds nothing like
what
he actually sounds like.
Yeah. And when the trailers first came out, I was like, oh, I see what they did. They pitched his voice up.
Mm-hmm.
Not really.
Yeah.
He just can do that voice. He's done that voice live before, and it's basically 1-to-1. Like, I do believe there's a tiny, tiny bit of pitch shifting in there.
Mm-hmm.
But, for the most part, that is just him and his vocals.
Yeah.
And he just brings so much energy to that character, and he has so many funny moments. One of my favorite moments in the whole film, minor spoilers, I guess. It's a fucking Mario movie.
Well, we review movies, so we all know we spoil shit.
Yeah. There's a part where Mario and Peach are sharing a little cutesy
touching
conversation,
moment,
and then Donkey Kong rolls up and starts busting his balls for being bad at flirting. And then Toad, this whole movie, there's a running gag where he says Mario's his best friend, but they just met. He rolls up in his truck, and he's like, he absolutely could date the princess if he wanted. She'd go out with him in a heartbeat. Like, this is fucking backing his boy up, and it's great.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the cast here. I thought everybody sounded great. I thought everybody's character design was really good. I liked, like I said earlier, I liked how you could see all the different little details on not only Mario, but Peach, DK. I thought Cranky Kong looked cool.
Yeah, his look was really good.
I thought he looked cool. And I thought Bowser was dope, man. I thought Jack Black, like I said earlier, Jack Black is the man. I love Jack Black. I think he's hilarious. I love Tenacious D. I really like heavy metal music. So does Jack Black. And whenever he gets the opportunity to sing in anything, it's hilarious and cool. And they gave him the chance to do some singing. And I really liked it, man.
Stream Peaches on Spotify right now.
Yeah, I'm going to download that shit, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's my new ringtone.
Is it really?
No.
Oh, okay. Do people have ringtones still? Does that exist?
What? I mean, you can.
Like a song?
I don't know how many people do.
Yeah, mine just vibrates.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, really, like...
Who calls anymore?
Yeah, I called Brett for the first time ever. Like, I've never called you before, except for the other day when we were talking about going to the movies. And it was kind of... Had everybody kind of confused there. But we powered through. But anyways, I love Jack Black, and I thought he crushed it as Bowser.
Oh, yeah.
So good.
In the initial shock of the cast being revealed, he was the one person no one had any comments on. Yeah. Right? They were like, Chris Pratt is Mario, Seth Rogen is Donkey Kong, and they were like, Jack Black's fucking Bowser. Yeah, that's sick as hell.
And it's funny too because like Bowser in the games like just has this even more deep, low, imposing voice, and it's like Jack Black did that, but not really.
Yeah, there
but
were
it still
a few,
works.
Yeah, Jack Black as Bowser, he could have just talked normally and it would have been great. However, he does try to do...
He does like a raspy
the
thing,
raspy,
kinda.
the grumbly voice. I will say, though, whenever he like yells or tries to get loud, it completely disappears and he's just Jack Black.
And it's like that goofy, high-pitched, like...
Yeah.
I love it, though. I love
no, and it's great. It's great. Jack Black can do no wrong.
No, he's my guy till the end. And then also, like, I have already on here because we always talk about it, like, set design. Well, obviously, there's no fucking sets. It's animated. Yeah. But we already touched base on how cool the Mushroom Kingdom looked and everything else, so I'm not going to jump in there on any of that. Production and direction. I don't know who this director is, but I thought this movie... We might vary here a little bit, Brett, but I thought this movie... what was it? Its runtime? It was only an hour and a half long,
yeah,
right? Like right around 90 minutes.
Almost exactly 90.
Perfect. I thought the runtime was great. I thought everything hit its strides exactly where it needed to be. It was almost at a pace where there was no lulls for any dialogue, but you still get good character building moments. And, like we said, this is geared for kids. So it's made that way to keep their attention.
Yeah.
But I think it does that while also executing a properly drawn out story well. I don't have any issues with the way it was produced or directed as far as the construction of the movie. Upon
viewing it a second time, I don't have nearly as many issues with the pacing as I did when I first saw it because, like you were saying, obviously it's a children's movie.
Right.
We got to keep that attention. This is the Subway Surfers on their TikTok videos generation of kids.
Yeah.
But there are a few very glaring moments of like we don't have time for this. And I do think, as an adult who views movies, I do think
that's what you are.
It's a bit of a detriment. And it's very noticeable. Upon a first viewing, it's like, that felt kind of fast. But then upon a second viewing, you can really pinpoint the moments where it's like this scene was written in 2 seconds to get us from here to there. There were 3 separate instances where Peach says no to something, the other character says no back, and she immediately gives up. 3 separate instances where a conflict is immediately resolved by just giving up on the trying to plant the foot.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like literally 3 lines of dialogue.
Yeah.
Hey, don't do that. I'm coming with you. Okay. It's like, oh, okay. And then, you know, the biggest perpetrator of this problem is, of course, which is the scene everyone points to illustrate the problem, is the scene where Donkey Kong and Mario are in the eel's belly. Because, you know, it's like they try to do a character moment, but they just don't have time. Mm-hmm. It's like, my dad thinks I suck. Well, my dad thinks I suck too. Let's escape. And then and then Mario makes fun of Donkey Kong for being the Smash Monkey, and he's like, "Oh, I'm more than just a guy who smashes things." And then the eel starts to burp, and then you think it's like, "Oh, okay." So now they realize that that's how they're gonna escape, and then they're gonna formulate their plan, and they're gonna use that to their advantage. No, he does it once. The eel burps, unrelated to their escape. And then they just rocket out on their cart that they were sitting next to the entire time. Yeah. And it's like, okay. And then we're done. We're done with that moment. We don't talk about it anymore. We're gone. We don't have time. We got to get to the end of the movie. Mm-hmm. We gotta get there. And so I but again, it's easily overlooked to say, and I don't think I'm not the kind of person that thinks, oh, it's for kids as an excuse for bad movies.
Well, I was just about to say, you can't use that as a crutch for everything, even bad character development. You can't say, oh, it's a kids movie, that's why there's no character development. No, there's good kids movies that have excellent character development.
And Mario actually does have very good character development. It's just like those specific instances where it's like you just can see that they don't have time.
Yeah.
And I'm one of the people that think if they just had a little bit longer in that runtime, we could have those moments.
You could have tacked on 3 or 4 minutes in those certain scenes.
Yeah, just those scenes.
And maybe had a total of 10 additional minutes and made the movie added a little bit more depth.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's a really good way of putting it.
Now with that said, I still have a problem with it. I thought it was fine. And not in the like Brett Prickett, it's fine way. I thought it was good. Like he said, it does have character development. It has enough for me. I thought that, they just didn't overstay their welcome with anything either, as far as like the opening sequence with his family. Mm-hmm. You kind of understood where he stood with his family.
Yeah, they very well could have fallen into that pitfall of like giving us too much, or hammering in that point too far,
and
they didn't.
Late in the late in the movie, they come back to Brooklyn, and I was about to get disappointed, and I still kind of am that they dip back into Brooklyn. I wanted to stay in the Mushroom Kingdom, but we're not there long enough for him to just close the arc with his family, and then go right back to the Mushroom Kingdom for the ending sequence. Mm-hmm. And I really enjoyed that, and I liked it all. Mm-hmm. You have anything else you want to say there with that?
No.
Because if not, I have one thing that we both need to just go ahead and agree on. Mm-hmm. Well, you can talk a little bit about if you don't agree, but I thought the soundtrack was really cool.
Yeah.
Not particularly licensed music. Mm-hmm. I mean, I like some of the songs. I know you fucking hated it, but the soundtrack,
I wouldn't say that.
The soundtrack score actually was really, really good.
Yeah, the way they incorporate existing Mario tracks into this movie is just phenomenal.
Yeah, it's god tier.
The music in this movie is some of the best I've ever heard in any movie ever. Not only are all of the original Mario tracks beautifully remixed and orchestrated into these just amazingly crafted medleys.
Yeah, they're really well composed.
They're also used in the perfect moments. The underground theme comes in when they first enter the sewers. Yeah. Every single theme of the Mushroom Kingdom that's ever been is in that wonderful medley where we're stretching, we're just getting all this world building, but the moment they see the castle, boom, Peach's castle theme, fades in, and it's
seamless how it goes together too.
And then all the instruments that they added, it's amazing.
Yeah, it doesn't feel jaded at all.
No, not at all. And it doesn't feel because they're all new mixes, because they're all these new remixes, it's like it feels so lovingly crafted. It's like it wasn't just like, oh, well, we got to put that song in because then they'll all point at the screen and they'll say that's the song. And that's why they did it. But they did it with enough class that you don't notice that that's why they did it.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just so, like, I would listen. Like, I'm not a.
They finessed us. They finessed us for sure.
They finessed us. Everything they did, it worked on me, you know. But and I'm not the kind of guy that likes to listen to video game music on its own. You know,
I do occasionally.
I prefer some songs with lyrics, you know. But like, some of the stuff in this movie is so good. I would just listen to it on my own time. Yeah. Like, it's already in the playlist.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to have to download this shit.
The soundtrack is absolutely phenomenal. And then Hunter sort of mentioned it just then. You know, we do, of course, it being an animated kids film by Illumination, no less.
Yeah.
We do get those licensed songs in there.
They're like a SpongeBob meme where he opens the flute case and it's like old reliable.
Yeah, you know, of
licensed
course,
music.
Your main. It's like the 4 horsemen of licensed music. Honestly, are all in this movie.
Yeah,
you know,
the 4 horsemen.
Need a Hero, Mr. Blue Sky, Take on Me, and Thunderstruck.
Damn, dude, you got me dying over
all of them are in this movie, and I don't have a problem with licensed music. You know, I think it's human nature to hear a thing you recognize and get happy about it. You know, you hear a song that you know and you're like, I know that song and it's in this movie. You know,
it's kind of like Cheap Thrills.
We've all been there and we do it. But it's, especially with this movie, it's kind of odd because they went through all the trouble of making these beautifully orchestrated and remixed Mario tracks that are just so fun to listen to and pick out, you know, the motifs of the songs that you know, and then you hear them play and it's like, yes, there it is. There's Luigi goes to the scary place because that's his thing, Luigi's Mansion, right? And they don't, you know, and they don't rub that in your face, but during the spooky music that they're playing, just for a second, the piano keys slip in to the Luigi's Mansion theme.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, you can't blink with your ears, but it's like almost blink and you miss it, you know?
Yeah.
I didn't notice it the first time. I almost knocked over the cleaner. I didn't notice it the first time I watched, but then when you asked me, you're like, oh, is that Luigi's Mansion music? And I was like, no, that's just sort of like, you know, regular, like evil Mario music. And then, I was like, that's fucking Luigi's Mansion, you know? And it's great. And then so when during those sequences, instead of that Mario music, they play Take on Me. It's like, well, why did we do that? And Take on Me, you know, I'm bullying Take on Me a little bit too much here because Take on Me specifically, that whole sequence when we're introduced to the Jungle Kingdom, the Kong Island, you know, their big introduction song for the Kongs is Take on Me. Whereas every other area we were introduced to, when we get introduced to the Mushroom Kingdom, you know, it's and then the Luigi's Mansion shit. But then it's like, no, we get introduced to the Kongs, Take on Me from the 80s.
Yeah.
And it stings even more because they have a track that they made specifically for that scene that includes music from Donkey Kong Country.
Yeah, which I didn't know until you told me.
Yeah, called Driving Me Bananas. And it's another one of those beautifully orchestrated medleys that has those motifs that you recognize. And it's all beautifully redone with all these big band instruments. And it's great. And they cut it for Take on Me, the most overused licensed song in a kids movie of all time. And it's like, you were so close. And it's that Illumination slipping in there, you know, because you said earlier that you're not a big Illumination hater like most of people on the internet are, and I'm not either. You know, Despicable Me is a great movie. I saw Minions in theaters, and I thought it was a fun movie. But Illumination is known for cheap humor and cheap movies. Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
And Nintendo wasn't going to let that be the case. And they came in, and that's why it's so great that so many people from Nintendo were you know, so hands-on with this movie instead of just like, here's the IP, go make a shit movie.
And you can tell that they were involved.
Oh,
heavily.
Like super involved.
Yeah, with the production of this.
And it's great. And so to have those little Illuminationisms sneak in, it's like we were so close to perfection. And then you just couldn't get away with not having Take on Me in there. And then the composer came out and said, in some Twitter conversations that there were more songs that they tried to cut in exchange for more licensed music, and they had to fight tooth and nail to keep the medleys in over those just more 80s songs. So it's like why not just have the music from the games that you already made? But it's like, no, we gotta tickle those nostalgia strings for the dads and the moms and the crowd. You guys know this song? You guys know "Take on Me"? You remember the music video with the pencils? You guys like that shit, right? You're into that?
Yeah, and it's music that you already paid for too, to produce.
Yeah,
to adapt with Brian Tyler's score. So
yeah. So everyone, do yourselves a favor. Go to Spotify, go to YouTube, and listen to "Driving Me Bananas."
Yeah, make it your MySpace song. Would you remember that from MySpace? Did you ever have MySpace?
No, MySpace was dead way before I came along.
MySpace had a thing where like your profile had a song.
Oh yeah,
like you could attach a song.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, so whatever.
Make "Driving Me Bananas" your MySpace song.
Yeah, or else. All right, Brett. So wrapping things up here, what you got? What you give it out of 10?
What are we giving it out of 10? I'll tell you what I give it out of 10.
Put it on that rating scale.
I'm throwing it up on the scale. 8.5 out of 10.
Hell yeah, man. Solid. Very solid.
And first viewing, when I was all giddy, seeing all the references and shit, and like everything, where they were like, oh, you know this. You saw this in the game.
Yeah.
It got me immediately. I was like, dude, when they did the fucking Super Mario 64 Bowser spin at the end, you can ask Haley. I was like literally like jumping out of my fucking chair. Like Andrew Garfield just jumped out of a portal at me.
Yeah, I was super excited for that sequence too, because like I said earlier, that's like my only like real Mario game that I had skin in. Was Mario 64. Yeah, man, I don't know if you guys followed along. I really don't have a lot of complaints at all about this movie. I think I got it. Dude, I'm borderline 9.5.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a 9, though. I'm going to stay a little bit refrained. It's a 9 out of 10 for me. I would rewatch this a lot. I wish my daughter was a little bit older than Mario was, so I could watch it with her. I hope they make a lot more of these.
I'm really looking forward. Obviously, it's going to get a fucking sequel.
I'm so excited I went to the theaters and saw it.
Yeah. It definitely is one, if you haven't seen it already, go to the theater and watch it if you can.
This is one of my favorite animated movies I've watched. Like, well, a kid's animated movie I've watched in a long time. I really liked it.
But yeah, so for all those little references and Easter eggs and stuff, that 10 out of 10 shit right there. I was thoroughly pleased by what I was seeing on screen. Seeing it a second time, still a great movie. Really, really good. Definitely got to give it a watch. But I'll rein myself in. And, just for those little gripes, nitpicks, really. Got to give it that 8.5.
Yeah, and that's another testament to the movie. You have somebody like me that I know who Mario is. Obviously, I played video games, and I enjoy the character and enjoy the one game that I actually played. But this movie doesn't rely on Easter eggs and nostalgia to hook you into enjoying it more. You just enjoy it for the product it is. So, yeah, really good movie. Really good review.
Really good review.
I had a lot of fun with this one, Brett.
Oh, I won't get super far into it, but another reason it's an 8.5 is a lack of Luigi content. The bros together in this movie have some of the best on-screen chemistry I've seen pretty much in anything. Like Mario and Luigi, almost. Like Mario and Luigi fucking love each other, man. These are brothers who are bonded for life.
Yeah.
Like it's not some of that toxic masculinity bro shit, which oh, you're my man. Like they're hugging, they're like grabbing each other's faces when they reunite, and like nothing can hurt us when we're together. Like that's fucking love. And then they sell it so well, and then they kick Luigi out of the movie for an hour. And it's like, no!
Luckily, it's only an hour and a half.
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously, with that short runtime, it's not too long that he's gone. But I do look forward, now that he's been saved from the Bowser, I'm really looking forward to more of that, Mario Brothers chemistry in the inevitable sequel.
I'm sure that's what we'll get in the sequel.
Also, Daisy. Best Mario character, put her in there.
We'll get more characters. Maybe your boy Waluigi will make an appearance in the sequel. He might be a third entry type character.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, if we're the obvious comparisons to Sonic, the Sonic movies, if we're going that way, then the next villain is gonna be Wario, and then they'll bring in. Well, actually, I guess the third.
What? What are you laughing at?
I'm sorry, because I just completely shut down, and you didn't even try to jump in, so it was just completely.
I thought you had a thought for who the third villain would be.
Well, no, because I fucked up my comparisons. I meant to say, because the villain of the second movie was Knuckles, right? But then he's actually
a good guy,
their friend,
yeah.
And then the third movie is gonna have Shadow, who's the inverse of Sonic. So Wario would be the third. Wario and Waluigi would be the third movie antagonist. And I was trying to think of who would be for the second movie, because Mario doesn't really have a Knuckles.
Let's just do Bowser again. I want more Jack Black.
I want them to do Bowser Jr. Honestly, I think that'd
Bowser's
be fun.
Revenge. Mario 2, Bowser's Revenge. I book it.
Bowser Strikes Back.
Yeah, Bowser Returns. Well, that's pretty much it, Brett. Any other closing thoughts? I think we laid it all out on the table pretty nicely.
I think we covered pretty much everything.
Hell yeah, man! Like I said, I had a lot of fun with this one.
Oh yeah. I'm really glad you got to see it.
Hope you did, and I hope everybody listening had a good time with this too. Make sure you get out and watch Super Mario Brothers. It's a blast.
Yeah, it's so fun.
Take kids if you have them. Don't take other people's kids.
Yeah, no. If you don't have kids, don't worry about it. It's not a requirement.
Other than that, Brett, go ahead and wrap us up, man.
All right. If you guys want to follow us, don't please. That'd be kind of creepy. But if you want to keep up with us on social media, you can give us an online follow at our Instagram and our Twitter, which are both simply Real Rendezvous, all one word. And if you want to listen to these episodes somewhere else while also looking at some funky blue lines, you can check us out on our YouTube, which is also just Real Rendezvous, but this time it's 2 words. So check that out. Go subscribe, like, comment, tell us what you'd like to see. We're up to 162 subscribers, by the way, if you want to talk numbers.
Hell yeah, man.
It's super awesome. It goes up every week, and it's just so cool.
Still climbing.
Yeah, so really appreciate all you guys. Always tuning back in to listen to us do this shit.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, I guess until next time, we're Real Rendezvous. Hunter and Brett. Peace out.
Brett and Hunter. Out peace. All right, bye.